letter to John, 1 John 4:20. If anyone says, I love God, but hates his brother, he's a liar. For anyone who does not love his brother whom he has seen cannot love God, whom he has not seen. And we have this commandment, verse 21 says. We have this commandment from him. Whoever loves God must love his brother as well. I like to break down 1 Corinthians 13:4-7, where it speaks about love and gives some of the characteristics. Love's not an emotion, but it's a commitment and something that takes work, and it takes really a lot of self-control as well. It takes doing what's good for someone and uplifting them rather than bringing them down. So a lot of times you hear 1 Corinthians 13 romantically at weddings or poetically. But Paul wasn't writing for a marriage ceremony. He was writing to the church in Corinth. And there was a purpose for his letter. They were lacking in love. He wrote it to a fractured, prideful church. They were gifted, they were smart, knowledgeable. They had gifts. But Paul says you can have spiritual gifts, prophetic insight. You could move mountains with your faith. You could have wisdom. But if you lack love, you're nothing. Not less, but nothing. So we want to go and walk through verses 4-7 and to ask, what does it look like to love the way Christ loved us, or the way we're instructed to love? What does it mean to love? The first point we have is love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not easily angered. The Greek says, I can't pronounce it properly, I'm sure, but makrothymē, long-tempered. When it says patient, it doesn't explode when it's poked, or it holds its ground without holding a grudge. Love has a long fuse, which means when someone's irritating you or snaps, a coworker, a spouse, your kids, love takes a deep breath before it reacts, and this is very difficult to do. It's something I need to work on, and it's something we all need to work on. And so more than that, love is not provoked. The Greek paroxenetai. And so when you love someone and when you're in self-control through love, you can endure and not react angrily, selfishly, and without thinking. You're more aware of the moment. This word is a sharp word. It means quick to boil. So it's not, not thin-skinned, or not, something that's just not being touchy. So it's something to ask ourselves. I know, again, we all struggle with these things, especially certain times when we're stressed or in pain, frustrated. But is our patience easily set off? Do we have the patience of love? The love of Christ on the cross was not easily set off. It endured, infinitely endured. Love also doesn't keep score. So let's read a little bit, and at the end I want to go through each of the different descriptions of love one by one. But it says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking. As we just described, it's not easily angered, it keeps no account of wrongs. So that's where we are, this accounting language. Logizetai to kakon, it doesn't tally up evil. Some of us, better than others, keep little tally sheets. You wronged me at this time, or you wronged me at that time, or I was right, see, and you were wrong. And we keep score. Love doesn't do that. Love might not forget, but it doesn't weaponize the memory or the past. It forgives, it lets go. It doesn't replay the tapes in its head. It doesn't shove it in their face. It covers like Noah's son who walked backward to clothe their father's shame. Christ could have called down a list of our offenses, but instead he said, Father, forgive them. And that is love. And so, love takes no pleasure in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. There are 4 things here. The first one is it bears all things, is it covers like a roof, it protects. It doesn't expose, but it shields. Jesus says, it says in Peter, love covers a multitude of sins. The next one is it believes all things. The word rooted in faith, pisteu, pistis. It believes not foolishly, but faithfully. It sees people not as they are, but as they could be. It sees the best in us. Elpise, it hopes. The word elpis is hope. It hopes even when things look hopeless. And the word hope, it's rooted in the word for trust. To expect, it's an expectation. So it expects the best. It doesn't fear and expect the worst. Then the next one is it endures all things. Hypomene, it endures like a soldier holding the line. It doesn't run, it doesn't retreat. It puts up with the frustrations and the difficulties. This isn't a weakness, it's a strength. It's a strength in love and endurance. A love that endures betrayal, like Jesus. Betrayal, abuse, thorns, nails. Asking for water and being given vinegar. And Jesus, when he turns to the man next to him, who's a criminal, he forgives him, even through all his pain, and says, today you'll be with me in paradise. So this kind of love is something that needs to be worked on and continually, because again, I'm always reminded by the verse in Timothy. I saw the bumper sticker that says, God came for all the wicked sinners. And I thought, man, that's so mean and demeaning. But when you look it up, it's St. Paul saying God came for all the worthless sinners, of which I am the worst. And we have to have that humility. And I can agree and admit that I myself really struggle with these things, especially when we're stressed, especially when things aren't going our way. Are we quick to anger? Do we keep score? Do we seek our own and what we want? Or do we look for others and what can uplift them? And how to endure and be patient for them? How to hold the line for them? And how to believe in someone else instead of thinking the worst? Romans 5:5 says, God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit. And you can receive this love. You can't manufacture it. You can abide in the one who is love, God. So we can ask God to search our heart. Lord, help me to recognize when I'm touchy or cold, or when I'm cynical and short. And help me to bite my tongue and have patient endurance. Help us to let go of the list. Help us to every day erase the ledger in our mind of who's offended us, and to be reminded that Jesus says, forgive as you'll be forgiven. We can ask the Spirit to form a love that believes and hopes and looks for the best even as things fall apart in this world. A sort of trust that things are going according to a plan that we maybe just can't understand. We find a way to love and uplift not just those who are lovable, that's easy, but for the ones who test our love and our patience, the ones who probably need that love the most and could be transformed by it the most. John 13:35 says, By this all men will know you are my disciples, if you love one another. Time and time again, Jesus says you can sum up the law Love the Lord God with all your heart and all your mind and all your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. So it's not just having a happy, warm feeling in your heart for your neighbor and those around you, but it's going through the work and the process of being able to lift yourself up and lift them up with patience and with strength and with a trust and thinking the best. If we go through the words one by one and take a look at the Greek meanings, we can even go deeper. And so I'll end by doing that. First, love is patient. The literal meaning is long-tempered or slow to anger, enduring provocation. Love is kind. It's an act of kindness, benevolence, and doing good to others. It does not envy. It's not jealous. It doesn't resent others. It doesn't have that anger that it's unfair that others have it better or have something better than we have. It doesn't boast. It doesn't show off. It doesn't brag. It's humble. It doesn't puff its chest up and make others feel bad. It's not proud. And so it also doesn't behave rudely, which is not acting disgracefully or indecently. It doesn't seek its own. It doesn't insist on its own way or want only its own needs. It's not easily angered, which is not to be provoked or irritable or quick-tempered. It keeps no record of wrongs. It doesn't keep score. It doesn't keep tally. It doesn't do some of our favorite things like, I was right, see, you were wrong. Again, it's a humility. It doesn't rejoice in wrongdoing. It means not to take delight in injustice, not to take delight in moral failure, not to rub it in or to feel morally superior when others are failing. Rejoice with the truth means celebrating what's right. It bears all things, which is to cover or protect. It endures silently or shields from exposure. It has a belief or faith in all things. It trusts. It gives the benefit of the doubt, even when you don't think someone deserves it, because that's what God does for us. It's not cynical, because this world can make you very cynical. It hopes all things, which means it expects the good and remains hopeful, or it trusts the process, we sometimes say from the famous coach John Wooden. It endures all things, which means it perseveres under pressure, and it remains steadfast, even when we start to doubt, even when things don't seem fair, and again, even when things seem like they're falling apart. When I was a new teacher, I thought love is just, first I thought it was just to accept someone, just accepting things for how they are. And I would think, well, if I was a parent, would just accepting my kid for who they are be enough? No, and I think there's a lot more to it. And obviously we need the basic needs first, which is safety, mentally and physical safety. We need food and we need shelter. We need to feel loved, which is to feel valued and worth something. I believe part of loving is the truth is teaching and educating and allowing people an opportunity to better themselves and have better their understanding. But there's more to love, and we can see here that Paul found the need to remind the churches in Corinth what it means to love. Because as a reminder, you can speak in tongues. You could have gifts. You can prophesize. You can have all the knowledge of all the mysteries of the world. You could know who built the pyramids. You could have faith to move mountains, but if you don't have love, you are nothing. So the importance of love is everything, Paul is saying. We can give to the needy and give to the poor, but if we have not love, we gain nothing. And so sometimes when I think about love, and I've developed and changed my understanding of love throughout the years, we always think about others. I would ask you also to turn that and ask yourself, do I love myself? Am I patient? Am I kind? Am I not arrogant? Am I humble? Am I acting gracefully and decently? Am I lifting myself up and doing things that are good for me? Am I patient with myself and not irritable or quick-tempered? Am I keeping scores of the things that I've done wrong and that I do wrong? Or do I remember the grace of God forgives me? And do I not live in the guilt that we sometimes live in when we're trying to do the right thing? That seems to be the irony sometimes, is that when you truly try to be a good person and want to do the right thing, you feel more guilt. And sometimes when you don't care if you're doing right or wrong, you don't feel any guilt at all. But sometimes that guilt can be very, very toxic and counterproductive. Do we trust and believe in ourselves? Do we have endurance? Do we expect good or do we expect better in our lives? Do we believe in ourselves, I guess you could say? And are we enduring, and do we persevere when things get difficult? Do we remind ourselves to persevere and stay strong, and to turn to God for strength, to turn to God daily for wisdom and guidance? So it's just some thoughts.